Hello, and welcome back to Firesins Gaming. My name is Ben, and today we're going to continue on with Suzerain. The last time out, we made a couple of new alliances, as well as addressed the Assembly. So, we're going to pick it up here. Looks like we got 2 newspapers and 2 reports. So, let's just start with the reports. Why not? Alright, border report from Suzerain. Defense Minister Josef Valencia reports that Valen borders have been closed and the divisions of the 3rd Army are ready for the operation. Sweet. Alright, from Whole Sword Reform Status. Leasingglad reported that so far they've been able to get in total 142 signatures behind the proposal. Efforts are underway to increase the support and reach out to the necessary members to reach 150. Very nice, we're getting pretty close to our target there. Alright, let's hit the news. Alright, from Whole Sword Post, we've got... Rain, it's time to strengthen the executive. President Rain has called on the Grand National Assembly of Sordland to support the upcoming constitutional changes in his address in the Parliament. The President's address came after a series of meetings within the USP, which probably involved discussions about the new constitution. President Rain talked about the main points of their proposed changes and revealed that the current draft will be looked over again with the leaders of the NFP before it is proposed in Parliament. It is time to strengthen the executive to enact faster and more powerful reforms, said President Rain, showing that he is planning to bring changes to the executive, increasing the power of the president. And from Geopolitico, let's see, Agnolian battleship rams into Foxlandian destroyer. Tensions between Agnolian and Foxland keep climbing. The latest addition to the escalations happened yesterday on the Fogoslavian Channel, when an Agnolian battleship rammed into Foxlandian destroyer. According to Agnolian sources, yesterday morning, the Agnolian battleship Van Gilbin, A387, has warned the Foxlandian destroyer Stanison to move out of the way. Foxlandian captains did not respond to the communication. As a result, 2 ships collided, causing few injuries to happen on board. Neither side opened fire and instead waited for orders. Brilliant. Alright, well, let's go ahead and move on to the next turn now. Alright, Wealth of Nations. Alright, let's see here. So we got, looks like 2 newspaper reports. Report up here. And a whole bunch of stuff going on in Whole Sword. So let's start with the report up here in Agnolia. See what's up. Alright, Van Horten wins election. General elections held in Agnolia this week had resulted in the victory of the Neuros Democratic Union of Agnolia for the 2nd time, with its leader Martin Van Horten continuing his duties as Prime Minister. Alright, well that's pretty helpful since we signed that alliance with him. Alright, check out the news. From Lockhaven Times, health requires more resources. The latest report coming out of the Ministry of Health regarding the current situation and the need for privatization raises serious questions about the gargantuan scale of effort required to solve the structural issues of health in Sordland. One part of the report about the threat of a potential epidemic being real stands out as it highlights the problem with the current voluntary vaccination policy. Minister Benewell has increased his calls for more financial resources to be able to make more changes to welfare within one term to cover existential issues like epidemic prevention. The report on the potential effects of privatization also included the downsides of what damage private interests could do inside the system of healthcare. However, the ministry pointed out that a small-scale implementation, the one it proposes, would be able to deliver efficient results. Interesting, although I have no intentions of privatizing anything. Alright, and got one here from the Radical, the hidden power of men in uniform. No political leader in Sordland can survive in office without some support from the general staff. President Arthur Vishu is a leader who learned this lesson the hard way. In 1927, a military coup brought an end to his short time as president. Later, President Alfonso became a target of alleged conspiracies by the Old Guard, who were known to be very close to the general staff of the Sordish armed forces. Though nowadays fewer officers assume the role of political leaders, military influence continues to have major repercussions in politics across eastern Maricopa. According to a report by the Alliance of Nations, Sordland has one of the most influential militaries in the region, coming just behind Valen. The actions of the generals indicate serious military interference in politics. As the reports show, men in uniform still enjoy considerable influence on politics of Sordland, and nothing is being done to reverse the situation despite the country's history of coups and civil war. Interesting. Alright. Well, let's check out these reports here in Whole Sword. The privatization plan proposal. The Ministry of Health has finished a privatization proposal plan in order to increase the resources of the health system and to increase the quality of services through small-scale market competition. Additionally, the Ministry's report highlighted the weaknesses Sordland has when it comes to a potential epidemic. Minister Benningwell reported that much more could be achieved through the healthcare system if the private sector could slightly assist by generating new revenue streams and adding new services. Okay. And Ministry of Justice files Urson v. Sordlin concurrence. Ministry of Justice has reviewed the Urson v. Sordlin case and put forward its concurrence opinion before sending the dispute to the Supreme Court. The Vice Minister of Justice came forward agreeing with the case of Isheval Urson and pointed out the majority court dissent do disservice to the legal precedent in future constitutional rights cases. The case is now in the hands of the Supreme Court. I don't remember what that's about, but I guess we'll find out eventually. Alright, and General Staff gathers. The General Staff is convened at the Ministry of Defense today to assess the security conditions of Sordlin. More than 20 high-ranking officers were in attendance and discussed several war plans, the internal stability of the nation, and the overall state of the armed forces. Cool, although I'm guessing that is related to this meeting, so I guess let's go meet with Yosef. I arrived at the cubic building that housed most of the military command that resided in Holsword. The gray and brutalist structure looked daunting. I never liked this building. It always made me feel like I was standing under the concrete foot of a giant getting ready to crush me. It made me feel small, and I never quite got used to the feeling even after this many years. At the entrance, I was greeted by Yosef's military entourage of young officers.
Welcome to the Ministry of Defense, Mr. President. Let's go to my office.
We walked from corridor to corridor to reach the office. On the way, we were met with high-ranking officers as well as privates. Every time one of these soldiers saw me, they stopped and saluted me. When we finally arrived at Yosef's office, his entourage saluted us and left. He closed the door and took a seat. This must be something serious, especially since you invited me here.
It is important you don't get misinformed on this matter. Vulcan has another agenda.
He leaned back and interlocked his hands.
The situation with Rumberg is getting worse. If it wasn't for our investments in the military, I would be even more concerned.
We're prepared for the worst, aren't we, Yosef?
Truthfully, not fully. We're still going through a few changes in the military to be able to confront them as such a day was to arrive. Our efforts to restructure the military should prove beneficial in a potential conflict. We would never be able to match the force of Rumberg on equal terms, therefore a switch to the military to a smaller, well-equipped and autonomously led combat units will prove better in the field.
I trust you'll defend the country if worst comes to worst.
Well, let's hope it doesn't come to that. The recent military partnership we have signed with Agnolia includes a mutual defense clause. In case of conflict, we will be obliged to come to each other's aid. In case of a Rumberg invasion, they will come for help.
Do you think their support be enough to hold the line?
I don't think so. Mr. President, we need stronger allies. Sure, Agnolia is better than nothing, but we must look further. Let's be our Vox into better options, in my opinion.
Do you really think that's absolutely necessary?
Yes, it is. The danger far outweighs the sacrifice. As a result of the recent deal with Vela, we have started organizing troops for the joint operation. General Falcon and I were discussing the war plan. 12th Battalion of the 3rd Army, along with air support units, will do the job. We'll meet up with the basic military command to discuss our joint strategy. You will be provided with our reports.
Show them the might of the Swordish armed forces.
The entire world will see, Mr. President. Don't doubt it.
Yosef cleared his throat.
Let's move on to our main topic. The mandatory conscription law has become a matter of discussion. We need to strike a decision whether to keep it or remove it. The facts are that conscription gives us a larger reservist pool that can cover a larger front line. These troops lack the morale and quality to be offensive elements. It is the last step remaining to switch to a modern professional armed force. But restructuring is hindered by hundreds of thousands of cadets extending our logistics, slowing command structure, and reducing the combat efficiency of our experienced units.
If they're a hindrance, then we should probably remove mandatory conscription.
We need all of our resources concentrated on our efficient units that will outperform the enemy in our mountainous terrain. The choice is up to you.
I thought for a moment before making my decision. Alright, let me double check here. I'm fairly certain we want to remove conscription, though. Let's see, yep, abolish conscription. That's what I thought. Alright. Remove mandatory conscription. It's time to have a professional force of willingly enlisted soldiers.
Sure, new changes will be implemented as you wish.
A strong knock on the door was heard, and the chief of the armed forces, Vulcan Kruger, walked in quickly with a frown. What is the meaning of this, Yosef? Why haven't I been invited? What is going on here?
You're overstepping and interrupting a personal meeting between me and the President.
Vulcan deliberated the situation. I see what's going on here.
I mean, no disrespect, but I'm leading the ground operations, and I must be informed of any strategic changes.
Oh, let's see. I don't think it makes a difference, but, Minister of Defense is your superior, and so am I. Besides, this is a private meeting.
Disappointing, so this is how the administration conducts matters of military affairs.
Vulcan's shoulders dropped in defeat.
Understood. I will of course obey the orders of my superior. I could take my leave in that case, if Mr. President doesn't want me here. It would be the most appropriate action.
Please excuse us, General Kruger. Vulcan left with a hard salute.
We also have to decide how exactly we spend our additional remaining funds in the military. In June, we decided to upgrade the equipment of our military. The military thanks the administration for the extensive support, especially in creating a modern fighting force. We need to decide what branch we would want to modernize more.
Well, which branch requires the modernization the most?
Strategically speaking, the Army would be the safest choice. However, the Air and Naval forces do well with further modernization too. Which branch should we modernize?
Let's modernize the Air Force. We need better Air Force.
As you wish. The changes will be implemented this month and finished at the end of November. That's about it. I won't take any more of your time, sir.
Have a good day. Left the Ministry of Defense to return to the Maroon Palace. Nice. Oh, wow. A whole bunch of stuff just popped up. Okay, well, let's check the country overview. Alright, so, military, we have lack of reservists as a red thing. But modernized Air Force is a green one, so that's good. Alright, let's see the journal. Just, yeah. Modernize the Air Force, removed conscription. Codex is doing something, but the Source Armed Forces, apparently. Whoa, I don't know what that updated, but that's alright. Alright. Well, let's see. It looks like it's just these couple things down here. Whoops. So let's hit up the newspapers. Alright. Got 2 from the Whole Sword Post. Starting with Boys to Men, Not Without Conscription. Sound the death knell for one of Swordland's proudest traditions. President Anton Rain has just removed the country's mandatory conscription requirement. We can therefore prepare for not only for a smaller army and decreased defense capabilities, but also for future generations of young men who have no idea how to hold a gun or follow marching orders. This newspaper's male staffers remember their time in the army as one of their most cherished formative experiences. It remains to be seen how soldiers' boys will develop a sense of national identity and self-determination without it. Seems like a shitty way to look at that, but that's okay. And Swordland will join Operation Bear Trap. Maroon Palace has announced that Swordlish Armed Forces will be collaborating with Basic Armed Forces on a joint operation against BFF targets in northern Valen. As part of the mobilization order for Operation Bear Trap, General Falcon has made comments on the operation saying, Swordlish Armed Forces, as always, stand vigilant against any threats inside and outside of our borders. We'll be working together with the Basic Army and eliminate the threats swiftly for peace in the region. The extent of the collaboration and the number of troops that will be deployed were not disclosed as of yet. Alright, and we got 3 from the Radical here. So first up, freedom. Swordlish boys no longer forced to fight. One of Swordland's most backwards traditions has finally been reversed. As of now, young men are freed from the requirement to join the Swordlish army upon coming of age. High school boys are rejoicing in their newfound ability to enter university or the career of their choice upon graduating, while military analysts point out that President Rain's reversal of mandatory conscription will lead to a smaller but more professional army. We're just happy that those many young students who don't align with the government's aims will now no longer be forced to fight for them. And Rain joins Smolak against BFF in Valen. Teaming up with his new ally, bloodthirsty dictator Victor Smolak, President Rain has agreed on a joint operation against the British Freedom Front in northern Valen. The operation's name, Operation Bear Trap. Although this act might seem justifiable at first, Victor Smolak's track record is apparent. He's been accused and condemned by the international community for many war crimes against innocent British people before. Smolak has already ordered the bombings on civilian schools and hospitals, calling them breeding grounds for terrorists. As Swordlish soldiers are getting ready to enter Valen, the latest reports from the country show that more than 10,000 Vasic Bloods are already displaced by the Vasic forces. Whether we like it or not, President Rain decided that Swordlish soldiers will be fighting on foreign soil alongside a known war criminal. And last but not least, women march for equal education in Anarcha. In the conservative stronghold of Anarcha, protesters organized by the Swordish League of Women braved the call for gender parity in the classroom. Like us, these women hope the present reign will use his time in office to fix Sordland's notoriously sexist public education system and give young girls the university preparation they sorely need, as opposed to housewife training. A small group of counter-protesters was also present, but drowned out by the cries for equality. Coolio. Oh, nice. Our budget went up somehow. That's cool. Alright, let's check out these reports. Now, from Anarcha, the Women's Rights March. A group of demonstrators led by representatives from the Swordish League of Women marched in Anarcha, calling for gender equality in Sordland's public education system. Women were also among the counter-protesters who argued for the right to keep educating girls separately from boys in order to preserve Swordish tradition. And in Conriat, we have a naval base update. United Cantana has finished moving its ships to the Conriat naval base. As per the terms of the new agreement, the United Cantana military is allowed to refuel and repair access to the naval base in exchange for providing logistical, financial, and equipment support to Sordland. That sentence is way harder to say than it should have been. Alright, let's look at the opening of the L1 Railway. We arrived in Holzord for the grand opening ceremony of the L1 high-speed rail. It was a proud moment for all of us. Simon and Gus, who heavily assisted the project, were with me, along with Lucien, to decide on how to proceed tomorrow. Lucien stood up.
First of all, congratulations, everyone.
To many more projects like this.
Well done, everyone.
We couldn't have done this without our excellent team.
Indeed. Let's move on to our plans for the opening tomorrow. It's been a long time since the last successful infrastructure project. There is good reason to capitalize on the occasion. I have a plan on how to do that. If Mr. President accepts, driving the first high-speed train to Lockhaven would be great for an image nationwide. What are your thoughts?
I don't support anything beyond the opening ceremony. Actions speak for themselves anyway.
Yeah, I see your point. Involving the President further could be beneficial for the administration. I think so too, Mr. President.
I agree. There's much to gain.
Very well.
Sounds fantastic. President driving Lockhaven on the driver's seat would make the headlines for sure.
Additionally, a large crowd is invited for the ceremony, and we will be watching the opening speech.
It'll be a good opportunity for exposure.
Agreed. Every single press outlet has of course been notified, and they will be there.
Simon stepped in for comment. On the other note, it goes without mentioning this was a team effort. Beginning with the president who put his trust in me, and I thank all who were involved in L1. Simon, you deserve a lot of credit. After all, it was you came up with the project.
We had our disagreements, but the important thing was the outcome. Source people got what they needed for a long time. We'll show our best face tomorrow. Meanwhile, we'll make sure that our message of improving the countryside will get across.
All right, then. We have a lot of work to do tomorrow. See you in the morning.
See you at the ceremony.
The team left, leaving the rest of the evening to prepare for the big day tomorrow. The next day, a stage had been erected inside the central station along the new electrified railway line. Sunny weather created a positive mood in the usually gray Holsword. The crowd looked quite large. I spotted many party members among them. We began moving towards the stage as the excitement was growing. We were all ready to begin the ceremony. I gave the green light and the opening address began.
Brothers and sisters of Sordland, I welcome you as audience today as proud servant of this country.
Lucian's voice echoed in the central station. Thousands of Sordland USP flags began to wave as the loud cheers intensified.
Without further ado, I invite the President of Sordland to the stage.
I moved up to the stage to address the crowd. The press was taking dozens of pictures. Let's see. People of Sordland, welcome to the opening ceremony of the L1 high-speed railway. Chanting and excitement from the crowd intensified. A large group began singing the national anthem. At the beginning of this journey, we promised jobs and opportunity. We kept our promise. The aim with the L1 Railway was to improve development in rural areas and cities in between Holsord and Lockhaven to create economic growth in the greater Holsord and Gelsund regions. This railway brings thousands of new jobs. Many unemployed citizens have benefited and will benefit on the path of the railway. Let's just thank Simon, why not? We have to thank the mind behind the railway project for it all. The esteemed Minister of Economy and Tax, Simon Hull. Please come over here. Simon walked up beside me. Thanks, Mr. President. Our aim with this project is obvious, to improve the speed and efficiency of transportation. I'm sure each one of you will be proud of the achievements made during the project once we cut that ribbon. You can get on that train yourselves. Simon mentioned the beginning of a Swordfish economic recovery and the plans to stop their session altogether. Lucien took Simon's place after he was done with his speech.
Citizens of Holsword, there you have it. As promised, Anton Rain, the 4th President of Solden, has delivered.
We moved towards the line where the first electric train was waiting. A red ribbon was hanging by the door of the train. Simon gave me a large pair of scissors to commence the opening while the crowd was watching. I cut the ribbon, which led to a huge wave of cheering from the crowd. Many flashes went off at the same time. Congratulations to all. It was a solid and fruitful effort, hopefully with much more to come.
It's a good moment indeed. We've helped so many in the countryside.
The train is prepared and ready. The journey to Lockhaven should take about 4 hours, and the rest of us will be in the carriage with you.
I entered the cab and took a seat with the assistant beside me. The crowd was trying to catch a glimpse of me sitting as driver of the train.
Who do you want to travel within the cab, Mr. President?
I should take Lucien. Why the heck not? Lucien, you'd be my preference.
Thank you, Mr. President. It'll be a good journey. We can talk about the reforms on the way as well.
As we began driving the train out of the central station, the media took photos of me and Lucien, who kept his usual cool. The new train was in pristine condition, and the electric engine made much faster acceleration possible while providing minimal noise and maximum comfort. After the relaxing 4-hour drive to Lockhaven, we were welcomed by celebratory citizens at Lockhaven Station. The railway officially opened to the public as soon as we arrived, and thousands began utilizing it. Today was a great victory for the administration. Cool, got an achievement for that. Still the feeling that's going to come back and bite me for not doing the highway instead, but that's alright. Alright. Journal says we attended the opening of the railway. Seems kind of pointless, but it's okay. And economy. The L1 high-speed rail is an active policy in average transportation. Interesting. Okay. Alright, 2 newspaper reports. From the Whole Sword Post, President Rain opens L1 Railway. The grand ceremony, President Rain has declared the L1 Railway open with his aides by his side and executives from Underhall Construction. After the ribbon cutting, he has delivered a heartfelt speech and brought attention to the capabilities of the administration. Following his speech, President Rain has driven a train on the new railway for the first time. The L1 Railway is expected to boost production between the largest cities in Sortland and has been happily welcomed by the citizens. And from The Economists, another victory for Underhall. Underhall Construction once again proved their worth with the opening of the L1 Railway. This government-contracted mega-project aims to bring the much-needed logistics improvement between the 2 highest outlet cities in Sortland, Lockhaven, and Holsword. On the opening day, President Rain personally drove a train for the first time ever after a speech highlighting the opportunities this new logistics overhaul will bring. Fantastic. Alright, doesn't look like there are any other reports, so let's pop back to Holsword for a meeting on the current economic situation. The team gathered in Holsword at the Ministry of Economy to conduct an economy overview meeting to go over the current situation. The building was constructed in 1892 by Heron Walt, one of the, if not the most famous architects in Sortland. The building looked simple and elegant, with a few of his signature domes spread out over the roof. Walking through the large bronze doors at the entrance, I was led by 2 assistants upstairs into a meeting room. Everyone stood up as I entered the room, buttoning their suit jackets. Welcome, Mr. President. Please, take your seats. Everyone took their seats. As you all know, today we'll go over our economic status. Let's begin without any further ado. The aid we have received from United Cantona has helped us a lot, although I heard some rumors. There were many people who opposed this decision, especially in the Lilderberg group. Regardless of what they think, capital will certainly be handy. We now have another weapon to combat the recession. I had to do whatever it takes to end the recession, even to amend a deal with United Cantona. Sometimes we need to make sacrifices. I think everyone in this room understands that, Mr. President.
How are we doing in terms of the infrastructure?
The success of the first infrastructure project is already showing a positive effect on the economy. Mikhail started grinning as he leaned forward.
Thanks to the high-speed railway, our 2 most important cities are linked faster. We're expecting quick economic growth in Greater Holsword and Gilsum. The Business Council is satisfied with this infrastructure improvement.
Yeah, it was a gargantuan effort from our side in the Ministry of Economy.
Positive results show that we are on the right path towards economic growth. There are already people, the people are already speaking in positive turn.
I can see the reactions in society. David, do you have the stats on our deal with Agnolia? Our trade deal with Agnolia has increased our imports and exports by 50% in 1 month, with much more expected in the future.
I'm glad our efforts are finally bearing fruit.
Just as we thought. We should see our improved relations with Agnolia as a stepping stone to expand positive influence. I support our foreign initiatives with partners as democratic as Signolia. That's beside the point. Edith didn't reply, but she smiled. Let's hear the stats on our deal with Valen. Our trade deal with Valen has increased our imports and exports by 60% in 1 month, which is a considerably good number. Perfect. Regardless, the numbers are clear. I must say, I still can't get behind a trade deal with Valen, especially when it involved military cooperation. I feel like we've made a contract with the devil. Nah, it's all good. We're reaping the benefits. We'll come out on top here. What I'm worried about is not only about Valen, it's the other countries too. Increased trade has improved our economy. I see this as a reason for celebration. On a side note, consumer spending has decreased further due to a pessimistic mood caused by the issues with our economy. I'm confident we'll turn this mood around with adaptive projects and solutions. Good to hear. We will do better. While I agree that our first steps were not successful, we still might have economic opportunities left. It isn't good for our reputation as people expected quick solutions. We're running out of time. Fairly certain that's not the right voice for this guy, but it's all good. He doesn't pop up much. Simon checked his large dossier. Yeah, some good news. We currently have a budget surplus. This means we can pursue many investments which will drive our economy upwards. I'll present you the draft documents for economic expansion soon. That is excellent news. I agree. With the extra money, there's much more we can do. No matter the cost, we'll have to increase our economic development rates. Otherwise, I'm sad to say that we will be doomed. We need to use the opportunities we're shown. Trade deals, infrastructure improvements, all these help. Mr. President, now be very clear. Simon took off his glasses and put them on the table. He looked at me straight in the eye. You already know this, and I don't want to frighten you, but we're unable to stop this recession. We're heading towards an economic catastrophe that's never been seen before in Switzerland. No, in all of Eastern Maricopa. I can't even begin to imagine how we could survive that. None of us want to see Sarge people starve while the state is unable to provide for its citizens. Then I guess we just need to get to work. Exactly. He put on his glasses. Now, there are a few methods to tackle the recession. Our surplus is a great reason to spend extra on the new investment project to push for further economic development in the future. I have prepared a few project proposals. There are two main distinctions between these projects. It's either about continuing our infrastructure improvements or investing in increasing production. If we continue on our infrastructure, that would lift us up to advanced country levels. However, our industrial production suffered and also needs a boost to return to pre-recession levels. There is, of course, the option to not take any risks related to our budget. The plans for these projects will be finalized soon. For now, I can provide preliminary information. Which would you like to hear first? What are the projects that could improve our infrastructure? Well, for infrastructure, we have two projects. One is the Benfield International Airport, and the other is the Morna Port. Benfield is growing at a rapid pace and would benefit highly from an international airport. Much more money can be made there, too. Yeah, the Morna Port will boost trade and improve the flow of goods towards Holsor, because Counter Airport is too small in capacity and the extension is blocked by the Navy headquarters. Morna would be a more significant city with a port, and the advanced logistical connection to Holsor would be better utilized. I don't think investing in Morna with a port would do much to change our economic prospects. Goods are flowing from other places just as fast. The increased imports and exports are on a more accessible path also. It is very lucrative, in my opinion. Time is money. I agree with Edith. The Morna port would mean a great deal to our trade and improve the economy of the Lord region, too. Alright, what are the projects that could boost our production? For production, we have two projects. One is the Sarna Agricultural Zone, and the other is Conrad Industrial City. I see the Sarna agricultural investment as a higher priority due to the fact that farmers in Berger were the most hit by the recession. Sarna also is a much poorer city than Conrad. The Conrad Industrial City project has the potential to increase manufacturing in the greater Wolfsburg region by a large amount. Sarna is a much poorer city indeed. It deserves any investment it can get from the government. The recession has hit the farmers of Sarna particularly hard, but besides the agricultural output increase will boost the economy. The investment won't be able to recover the industry there. Conrad, on the other hand, would bring in more financial gain. Our government has the opportunity to support agriculture, and we should take it. It would increase our exports, too. Well, I think I have enough information. Very well. That covers our subjects for today. I have a couple more economy-related questions. Edith, how strong is our currency? Currency health is improving post-elections, but it's unfortunately stagnated. There are no losses in comparison to pre-election levels. Inflation has dropped by 2 percentage points. Cool beans. Alright, well, Mikhail, how's the mood at the National Business Council?
The business leaders in the council are nervous about the lack of tangible economic improvements in the country. They are holding on to their investments so they feel it's safe to invest their reserves in new highest branches.
Sweet. David, what can we expect in terms of our trade situation? Our success in reaching a trade deal has boosted our position as a regional trader and increased the likelihood of potential trade partners. We have imported and exported more across the board with all countries except Rumberg. Sweet. Alright, well, I know enough now. Thank you for the information. That concludes the meeting. Have a good day, all.
Goodbye.
Until next time, Mr. President.
See you soon.
Meeting ended. And that feels like as good a spot as any for me to end it as well. So, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see y'all next time.